What didn't resonate with the voters? You know what didn't resonate with the voters? When they were saying we don't feel safe and the left focus on defund the police and bail reform.
Okay, so we already know about The View and how insanely biased they've always been, but with that kept in mind, I can't believe I'm actually about to say this, but it seems like the ladies from The View are actually starting to wake up now. A couple of them anyway, not all of them unfortunately, but if only we can see the same thing happening to CNN. And by the way, we'll be talking about that later in this video. But in the meantime, this video in particular came from The View just a few days after the election, where they decided to take time to reflect on the election and why they lost in the first place. And I gotta say, as left and liberal as these ladies are, they actually had some pretty interesting things to say. Now before we get started on this commentary, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell down below, and share this with your friends all over the place in order to help us spread the word that The View is finally, after all this time, becoming a little less biased.
So do you think Bernie was right about this, that they didn't pay attention enough to the working class?
He's absolutely right, but his solutions are wrong. Kamala Harris outperformed him in Vermont. The lesson Democrats should take is not, we didn't run far enough to the left. They lost rural voters. They lost working class voters. And listen, I was someone who I'm recognizing, reflecting on this election. I had the privilege of saying I'm voting on democracy because I'm a high income earner. If your check engine light is on and you've got bills piling up on the table, you're not thinking about democracy. You're not thinking about the war in Ukraine. You're thinking about how will my life be better tomorrow? And the reality is this, we all sat around kind of wondering who is the swing voter that will decide this election? And a lot of folks thought it was women and abortion. No, it turns out it was people in the suburbs who are like, I can't stand Donald Trump's personality. I don't like how he talks, but my life was better off economically when he was president. And I'm struck by this.
But that's the middle class. We're talking about the working class.
I'm talking broadly. Yeah. He was not just the working class that he won. He also got the largest share of young voters for Republicans since 2008. That was the height of the financial crisis. Young voters, maybe they care about Gaza, maybe they care about student loans, but to be honest, 2/3 of this country doesn't even get to go to college. They were thinking, am I going to have a job? Am I going to be able to afford the life that I want? And finally, suburban women, sure, they definitely care about abortion. They also care that they're paying to send their kids to college and their graduations are being canceled because there's protests everywhere and because people are out in the streets demonstrating over a war somewhere else rather than just being able to educate their kids. There is so much room for self-reflection from the Democrats, and I hope they have it. Every time Joe Biden bragged about how good the economy is, another vote of someone struggling went to Donald Trump.
All right.
Damn. And for somebody who is known for being extremely biased, like one of the dumbest and most biased of all, she made some excellent points. And she made an excellent quote right there saying that every time Joe Biden opened his mouth about bragging about the economy, another struggling voter voted for Trump. Honestly beautiful to see no matter what way you slice it. But yeah, it's not just the working middle class, it's not just the people in the suburbs who decided who was going to be president in this election. It was also independents and Christians, given the fact that Kamala was openly anti-God. And I tell you what, CSO fam, the very moment she told those boys that they were at the wrong rally when they said Jesus is Lord, was the very moment she lost the election. That's just my humble opinion, but with that being said, let's continue, shall we? And see what another host had to say about this, albeit being interrupted by so many others.
The Republican Party doesn't give a rat's patootie about it.
Well, clearly they didn't convince the voters.
So all I can do.
And Kamala does? Look at what she's done in the past 4 years.
To get through to people, they're not paying attention. That's all.
Yeah,
because their Democrats have always been for the working people.
Exactly, and the Republicans.
No, they haven't. That's a lie, and they know it. They know it. That's a lie, and they know it.
They sounded that way, but when you look at the proof,
yeah,
they weren't.
but Joy, it's condescending. It's condescending. There is
What's condescending?
The way that the left speaks to its voters. It really is.
A message of joy and inclusiveness?
No, the message of not being educated, being dumb, and what's wrong with America.
Who said that?
Sonny just did.
What is wrong with
Joy,
America?
my point here is that...
Yeah, inclusiveness includes alienating white people. That's real nice.
I don't blame Kamala Harris. Go back as far as you want. I blame a messaging within the Democratic Party.
You don't blame the Republican Party
Can I just
at
finish
all?
my point, please? I obviously have a problem. Anyone has a problem with Donald Trump. The bigger question should be, Yes, Sonny. Why did they vote for him?
Yes.
In
So
sweeping.
they need to be introspective.
No. We need to be introspective. If we voted for
They
Kamala
chose
Harris,
not to
we
vote
need to
as
say
offering.
what didn't resonate with the voters. You know what didn't resonate with the voters? When they were saying we don't feel safe, and the left focused on defund the police and bail reform.
Yeah.
When they said
They
we're
also-
worrying
they
about.
also
Can I just
focused on
finish?
gun
Let me
control.
just finish real quickly. When they were focused on
It's only
renaming.
an hour show, ladies.
Joy, when they were focused on renaming schools, there were people saying, hey, students are destroying colleges. I paid for that. I sent them there. They can't learn. And everyone apologized for it and didn't want to attend to it. They also denied the border was a crisis and kept saying, no, it's fine. This is not a.
There was a border bill, though. There was
And
a
the
border bill.
11th hour-
Yes, but
3
Joy, my
years into
point
the
is they
Biden
screamed and
administration.
screamed and screamed. They didn't vote for him because he's a racist or a misogynist. They voted because they needed help in their everyday lives.
but Sarah,
they
they
make
voted- they
the
voted
majority
for
of
him.
this
How do you know
country
that?
because
There's a lot of-
every stat coming out on the people
Yeah.
willing to self-reflect are showing these.
Oh, wait, they're going to
stats.
say I'm a racist and a misogynist in the exit poll?
You
I don't
really think
so.
74 million
Joy,
people are racist?
Who's gonna say that?
Every racist and misogynist voted for Donald Trump. Not everyone that voted for Donald Trump was a racist and misogynist.
I agree with that.
Everyone swept. They swept every category, and the reason they did is to say, hey guys, no excuses this time.
Yeah.
Look,
they lost everything.
There's still half
country
the
that
country
allows
that doesn't agree with
environments
him.
Okay, I forget that lady's name, but man, I wish the rest of these ladies would just wake the heck up, especially the one on the left here. That lady on the left, she is an excellent example of a leftist whose heart will never soften. I pray that doesn't turn out to be true in the near future, but that's currently what I see. Now, I personally don't know the rest about you, but when it comes to viewership, I think that if they keep up this attitude, they'll eventually get more viewers. I mean, yeah, if you look at other websites and see what they have to say about The View, they're all going to say the same thing and saying that The View is doing extremely well. But at the same time, even if that were true, I personally think that The View's views, pun intended, would definitely improve. That is, if they open their minds just a little more. Unlike CNN, who, according to a variety of different websites, including but not limited to the Economic Times, CNN is reportedly facing significant layoffs as part of a major restructuring effort, which is actually aimed at reviving its struggling reputation following disappointing US presidential election ratings. According to a report from Puck, CNN executives are planning to cut hundreds of jobs, which will specifically affect the production staff, while on the other hand, on-air talent might also see some major changes. And can you really blame them for doing that? I mean, to this day, they are still producing rhetoric just like this.
Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested
and
that they were
lying
working.
in those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports.
Well, what-
First of all, we're
okay,
talking about
what's the
5 people
language?
in the
What's the
entire
language
country.
you would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
the American Medical Association.
This right here, CSO fam, is exactly what happens when your heart hardens. This is just a small example anyway. If you choose to harden your heart to the truth, God will punish you for it. And it's just another funny example of how Donald Trump said before that everything woke turns to crap. I, for one, am very happy to see this major fake news media outlet sweating like crazy, and I sincerely hope they change their ways in actually telling the truth for once. But if not, then I personally give them a few more years before they officially shut down permanently. Moral of this video is to show you what happens when you open your heart and let it soften to the truth, and what happens when you keep it hardened. The View and CNN are great examples of both of these things respectively. But with that being said, CSO fam, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell down below, as I always recommend you do, assuming you enjoyed this content. With that being said, make sure to keep observing from a common sense perspective.